So we begin tonight with our feature story. Now you might be asking yourself, Dave, what is the feature story on the NBA rundown tonight? And it's actually a pretty big story. Now look, most of the teams are 10 games into the season, and some teams like the Dallas Mavericks have started the season out 3-7. So our feature story tonight on the NBA Rundown is all about all of those NBA trade rumors that you've been hearing over the last 48 hours. I'm going to dive into some, probably not all of them, but I guarantee one of them we're going to dive into is the Daniel Gafford being reunited with one Luka Doncic in Los Angeles. We're going to talk about that, as well as the potential landing spots for Ja Morant. Look, I know there's a lot of teams in the NBA who would not admit it, but they absolutely have their eye on Ja Morant. We're going to get into where are probably the best landing spots for Ja Morant. Where would I actually like to see Ja end up, and where is poor Ja most likely going to end up? We're going to get into that, plus a bunch of other NBA trade rumors as well. Hey, welcome back to the NBA Rundown. As always, North America. I am Dave Dubois, coming to you from the Silicon Valley. New to the channel? Well, we're 2,500 plus subscribers in, trying to get to 5,000. Please go ahead and subscribe, and of course, smash that like button. All right, so now that all of the groveling is completely out of the way, I want to have a serious conversation with you, the sports fan, probably a basketball fan out there. Now, who do you think is actually going to be traded in the next couple weeks? Do you think the Daniel Gafford rumors of being reunited in Los Angeles with Luka Doncic are real? And do you think the Los Angeles Lakers really believe that Daniel Gafford is the key piece to a Laker team that, of course, was extremely shorthanded tonight, but got its handed to itself basically by the Atlanta Hawks tonight in Atlanta? Things got so bad that we didn't see Luka at all in the fourth quarter. Heck, they set him down in the third, and that was it for Luka in tonight's game. It was clear that the Atlanta Hawks, who, by the way, only dressed 10 players, seemed to dress better players than the Los Angeles Lakers did. So look, I've been saying this for weeks, that the big problem with the Los Angeles Lakers was that they didn't have enough rim protection, and that certainly would be a problem in the playoffs for the Lakers against certain franchises. One of those franchises, of course, being the Denver Nuggets, the other one being potentially the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the other one, of course, being OKC. Those are the three teams that the Los Angeles Lakers currently, assuming everybody is healthy, do not match up terribly well against if the playoffs were to start tomorrow. So I totally understand the desire and thought process around possibly trading for Daniel Gafford and bringing him to the Los Angeles Lakers. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions on that. What do you think? Now, clearly, I think the Lakers will need to do more than just Daniel Gafford. Look, Daniel Gafford so far this season, well, he's sat out more games than he's actually played in so far. That's really been the Daniel Gafford story to this point this season. Anyways, he's currently averaging 8.8 points per game at this point, just 4 rebounds and 1.4 blocks. But the big thing about Gafford is he is a big body. He is a good player. He is a good offensive player if you need him to be. And he's certainly fantastic at rim protection, which, of course, this Los Angeles Lakers team would need. Like that Dallas Mavericks team that went all the way to the NBA Finals a couple years ago, I think they would need to make multiple moves for this Laker team. And once again, they need more rim protection. And certainly that's what they would be looking for. If they could get away with not giving up too much for it, then the Lakers would certainly be in a good spot. I also wanted to get into some thoughts tonight for you on Ja Morant. I'm going to talk about where I think Ja Morant's ultimately going to end up. And no, it's not in Siberia, but it might as well be the NBA's version of Siberia. We're also going to get into where I would like Ja Morant to actually end up. I think Ja's so talented that it would be fantastic to see Ja actually end up on a team that is actually going to be in the playoffs this year. Maybe not just in the playoffs, but in the playoffs for quite some time. I'd love to see Ja actually get a chance to play for a legitimate contender this year. Now, there are several teams in the NBA who are off to pretty good starts that could certainly use a point guard. The Houston Rockets, we know about Fred VanVleet being out for the season. The Phoenix Suns continued their experiment into year 2 of still not having a strong enough point guard. And then the Toronto Raptors also come to mind as a surprise team so far this year, and a team that certainly has enough firepower to make things interesting from a trade bait perspective so that the Memphis Grizzlies season wouldn't be lost. I would love personally to actually see Ja Morant end up on a team like the Lakers or a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I don't think he's going to end up on the Lakers. Obviously, they have enough point guard support there at this point. But certainly the Minnesota Timberwolves would be a great landing spot for Ja Morant. Timberwolves would probably have to give up a couple things, but maybe get away with not giving up too much to ultimately bring Ja Morant. The backcourt of Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards is certainly one that, at least from a post-game press conference and interview perspective, would be awesome. It would be totally off the hook, and I'd love to actually see those two have a chance to play together. Love to know your thoughts and opinions as well. Please go ahead and drop them in when you have a chance. So that's where those are the places that I think it would be great for Ja to end up. I think Houston would be a great place for Ja. Be a lot of fun to see what would happen with that team if they were able to bring a Ja Morant into the team. Certainly the Timberwolves are another place I'd love to see him end up. Both of those teams have legitimate opportunities this year. Just a question of how the cookie ultimately crumbles as the season goes on. But where Ja's actually going to end up is most likely the NBA's version of Siberia, which of course is the Sacramento Kings. Either the Sacramento Kings or the New Orleans Pelicans. I think he'll ultimately end up in Sacramento. So those are the places, the two places that are near Siberia from an NBA basketball team. Yeah, outside, of course, the Washington Wizards, who have more point guards than they know what to do with at this point. So that's the two big trade rumors. Some other smaller trade rumors have Klay Thompson being dealt back to the Golden State Warriors. I think at this point, that's pretty much a non-story. I think it's safe to say Klay has skied pretty far down the backside of Career Mountain at this point. There's also the LaMelo Ball rumors and the Zion Williamson rumors. Those are certainly rumors that have been going on for a while. I'd hate to see the Pels actually officially finally give up on Zion Williamson at this point. But, you know, it's safe to say Zion, despite getting in great shape, is still struggling to stay healthy. All right, love to know everybody's thoughts and opinions. Thanks so much for tuning in to tonight's NBA Rundown. As always, I am Dave DeBall, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sports viewing day.